this is Tarot and Your Body, mapping tarot cards to various systems in your body, various disorders and whatnot. Okay, disclaimer. As always, this is just entertainment purposes only. Never make any diagnosis or medical issue or medical, advice. This is not medical advice. Never get medical advice off the internet. Always see your doctor if you're sick, etc., etc. Standard disclaimer for that. So let's go into Tarot and Your Body and see what we got today. What we have, though, what we do have is Mars. Mars is about heat. It's about energy. Mars is a very fiery place. It's got exalted in Capricorn. It rules Aries and Scorpio as well. Let's hop over that. There we go. Rules Aries and Scorpio, which is very, very cool. Aries being especially cool because that's one of the cards that we have with Mars in Aries with the Two of Wands. And we also have Scorpio today as well. Now, it is exalted in Capricorn, but has the detriment of Libra and Taurus. And if you're looking for the fall, that is Cancer. As far as metallics go, the metallics, it corresponds to iron. Minerals of, phosphorus, cobalt, and vitamin B12. So if we're looking for the vitamin today, it is B12 as far as Mars goes. Also F and folic acid. So where do we map this to, by the way? Well, it maps to muscles and adrenal glands, muscles, red blood cells. One of the more interesting aspects about it, however, is it deals with inflammation because it's heat related. It does deal with inflammation. And inflammation's a pretty annoying thing because it affects everything from making your eyes dry, making your blood pressure go up, making your heart act weird. Inflammation is a very, very bad thing. And a lot of times you'll just have some unusual problems. Turns out it's inflammation. I mean, it's a variety of things that it does to your body. But it does map Mars to, again, muscles, adrenal glands, and red blood cells. A couple of books talk about vision, which makes sense because inflammation affects your vision and your nasal cavity as well. So if we're looking for what it does, it touches a lot of different aspects within your body. And again, the rulers and whatnot. So again, we're talking about inflammation and injuries. I mean, Mars is a heating, stimulating, inflaming type of thing. So when you get too much Mars, when you get too much of that, you end up with, again, inflammation, injury, and infections. When you have too much Mars around, you have just too much of it, then you can look at, sort of issues with overheating and drying as well. Mars isn't all negative, though. It does have negative parts about it. Again, the biggest thing being inflammation and injury. And man, inflammation just wrecks your body. I know I'm harping on it, but I have problems with it. So I'm telling you now. So, I mean, it does have some good aspects as well. Mars is all about strength, muscular prowess, getting into the big strengths, getting all to that stuff. So it is a lesser malefic, Mars is, and a good Mars, a content Mars is going to give you that just enough heat to give you the strong muscular prowess that you need to go forth and do things. So if we need to go work out, if we need to go, stretch ourselves and play some tennis or something like that, that's going to give you some good things. It's also good with immunity and your vitality, right? Vitality. How much vitality do you need? It depends on how much you want to do, How much do you want to do? But it is about muscular prowess. It is about getting that vitality in and getting that feel, getting that strong feel in there as well. Now, too much Mars, again, with that heating, that inflammation, that sort of making things a bit more hot and dry, it leads to addictions and poor choices. So maybe there's a bit too much You may have gone a bit too far with the addictions or whatnot. A little too much drinking, too much of whatever that you tend to do to relieve pain and all this other stuff. You could get addicted to that stuff. So in excess, Mars does sort of throw you into that addictive nature, which obviously is not going to be that good. That's not going to be very positive for you. So definitely want to watch out for too much Mars as we get into those categories. So let's start looking at Mars through the tarot cards. The first tarot card we're going to look at is a fire sign, and that is the Two of Wands. The Two of Wands is traditionally the domain. So here's this person holding a globe, looking out amongst his domain, looking out amongst his possessions and his land, and trying to figure out maybe, what to do next, or what maybe a bit of a pride in what we're looking at. And that's where we get when we get into Aries. Now, you remember that Mars is actually rules Aries. So Mars rules Aries and Scorpio. So that means that, again, we have that domain feel, we have that conquering feel within here. And once we get there, we're talking about hyperactivity and the head and eyes. Again, talking about that inflammation, that affects your eyes a lot. You'll get dry eye from it, and there's not really any cure for dry eye and whatnot, but it also affects your head, and it creates this hyperactivity. And again, that heat in the head, a little bit of a headache, a little bit of an eye ache, fever is going to relate to that heat as well. So once we get that Two of Wands action going on, we could have a high fever. We could have, again, headaches, and maybe, like your teeth hurt, your nose hurts and whatnot. But again, that hyperactivity where you're just itchy all over. You feel like you need to be doing something. You feel like you need to be doing, be having more activity and whatnot. So it points to, a bit of that road rage too. Somebody cut you off, and you're just angry. Mars in Aries, looking out amongst our domain. This is sort of what we get once we hop into Aries. So, you sort of want to avoid that sometimes. You want to avoid that excess heat, that excess energy, because again, Mars is about energy as well. And once we get too much Mars, once we get it into Aries, again, it's the ruler of Aries. So once we get it in there, we could have a bit too much in that hyperactivity. So let's talk about the skin, stomach, and whatnot. So now we're moving into the earth sign of Capricorn. And once we're there, we have the Three of Pentacles, the traditional Leo feel where he's showing off his work. We're looking at this awesome work. We got people sort of shopping this work, and she's holding out a design document. You see that? Whoops. She's holding out a design document over here. You can see this. So sort of mandating what happens here. She's sort of controlling what happens here. So Mars, again, Mars is the rules Aries and Capricorn. So we do have these two signs that we're sort of into. Sorry, the Capricorn is the exalted. Mars is exalted in Capricorn. Sorry about that. So yeah, the skin, the dry, itchy, oily skin once we get into this. And you sort of get that feel of skin and stomach as you look at the Three of Pentacles. You know what I mean? So sort of working on this. Maybe we're putting some things on the wall. So we're working on that wall, that stomach wall, that skin wall. And so you get that sort of relationship over there to that feel. So dry, itchy, oily. It's like something's wrong. Something's wrong. We need to adjust the skin somehow. Maybe we need it puts the lotion on the skin. Maybe it puts the lotion on this, But the Three of Pentacles points to that. The stomach action is talking about you just have a stomach ache and things just aren't right. As far as the skin goes, we have skin disorders like eczema, psoriasis, etc. With the stomach, we have excess, production of acid and things like that. So there's a lot of different things. Nausea on the stomach as well. Maybe our stomach is just upset. Maybe we have, feeling like we have an ulcer or something, or maybe we have some excess acid in the stomach and it's coming up a little bit, that makes your chest hurt, you know, all sorts of weird things with the stomach as well. So sort of got to watch that and watch out for that when we have the Three of Pentacles about the stomach and the skin. So let's move to the air sign of Gemini. Gemini is about the shoulder. It's about the shoulder. And we see this with the Nine of Swords. The Nine of Swords is all about the nightmare, or you're sort of waking up, or we have these issues with that. And that, I mean, there's a lot of information on this about the shoulder and speech centers and whatnot. But when we're talking about the shoulder pain, you can sort of see it in the card because they're up. Maybe they have shoulder pain. Maybe they can't sleep. Something is wrong with that. So you could have a dislocated shoulder. You could have shoulder pain. It feels like that your shoulder is not able to move around as well as it should be. And we also have arms and hands and fingers and whatnot. But it's also about insomnia. And that obviously corresponds to the picture. You know, we have insomnia here. So very, very easy to remember insomnia, and sometimes asthma as well. So a little problems in the lungs. Things aren't going well in the lungs, and we have to sort of adjust to that as well. So there you go. There is your there's your Mars in the air sign of Gemini. So finally, we have the last place Mars is going to land, and that's with the unusual water sign of Scorpio. So Scorpio, as you know, is sort of, I mean, not really an addictive sign, but it does lead to a bit of some addictions. I mean, there is some addictive qualities within that. And once we get the heated element of Mars, once we get that hot Mars action, I mean, that sounds kind of kinky, but once we get the hot Mars action, could be leading to sexual addictions. Maybe the nymphomaniacs, the sex addictions, and STDs as well. So there are all sorts of disgusting STDs that are listed in the various books on this, but I won't list them here, you know, I'll spare you. But just consider all of the different STDs that could be associated with that. And sexual addiction, STDs, the picture says it all. The picture does say it all about the addictions. Maybe things gone wrong. Maybe things spilled over from those cups, but everything went quite unusual. Everything did not go well. So if you're looking for sexual addictions, you're looking for a bit of the STD action, which nobody is. Nobody is. The Five of Cups could be your man. That could be your man there. It does sort of look like maybe the dude has an STD. I don't know. I'm not insinuating anything, but I'm saying that the guy on the card does look like, you know, he's not very happy. So there's that. There is that. So anyway, please check out my Patreon link in the description. And as always, please hit like and subscribe. I will soon be coming out with cheat sheets that you can have to map all of these different things together, and you'll get those if you're a Patreon member. So thank you so much for watching my video. And as always, this is for entertainment purposes only. Never use tarot as a diagnostic tool. If you are sick, go to the doctor. If you need to see a doctor, please go to the doctor. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.